Assalamu alaikum children. Welcome to our Islamic session. Children, we are studying Unit A, Chapter 4, the life story of Prophet Dawud Alaihissalam. In the last class, we have learned the way Dawud Alaihissalam worshipped Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He worshipped Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala day and night. And he used to recite the Psalms in his beautiful voice. And when he used to praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the birds, the mountains, the trees moved along with him and praised the Almighty. In today's class, we will learn about the miracle that was given to Prophet Dawud alayhi salam by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let's begin. Faith in action. Worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as much as you can, just like Prophet Dawud alayhi salam used to do. The miracle of soft iron. You have probably studied about ancient Egyptian history in your history class. What do you think of when you hear the word Egypt? Do you think about the huge pyramids and Nile River? Or do you remember the story of Prophet Musa alayhi salam and Bani Israel, or the children of Israel in Egypt? For us, Egypt is important not because of its huge pyramids and sphinx, but it is important because Egypt is the birthplace of Prophet Musa alayhi salam. Prophet Musa alayhi salam was born at the time of Fir'aun. Fir'aun was a ruler who hated Bani Israel, the descendants of Prophet Yaqub alayhi salam, or Jacob. Fir'aun tried very hard to humiliate and disrespect Bani Israel. He made the women and men of Bani Israel into servants, working for very little or no pay at all. He made them work, but he didn't give them their pay, or he paid them very less. Fir'aun thought of himself as a god, and he wanted his people to obey him and worship him alone. Remember when Dawud alayhi salam didn't like to put on the coat of mail when he fought against Jalut because it restricted his movement. We have learned this earlier. While fighting against the enemy, against the Jalut, Prophet Dawud alayhi salam refused to wear the armor because he didn't find it comfortable. Later, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught Dawud alayhi salam a new technique, a new method of making coats of mail that fit better on warriors. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed him with a miracle that no one had before. Amazingly, the iron became soft for him. The metal iron, which is so hard and tough, and We all know that it requires a lot of effort and technique, and nowadays machines to modify it or change its form. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted Prophet Dawud Alaihissalam the miracle of softening the iron, means he could easily mold its shape. It became soft for him. So he could make better coats of mail. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Sabah, and we made the iron soft for him, make coats of mail, balancing with the rings of chain armor. By the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the iron metal became soft and pliable. Pliable means flexible in the hands of Dawud alayhi salam. Therefore, he could make new instruments for fighting and self defense. He was the first one to make coats of chain armor for himself and his warriors. These armors have to be made with cunning art, for the chains are to fit into each other, and for the whole garment to be worn in comfort in fierce warfare while fighting aggressively in the war. Imam Mujahid said, Allah the Almighty helped Dawood alayhi salam to make defensive armor from iron so he could fortify himself against the enemy. Then he taught him how to manufacture it. Prophet Dawud alayhi salam earned his living by manufacturing these coats of mail. It is a known fact that Prophet Dawud alayhi salam used to earn his living. Yet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted Dawud alayhi salam and his warriors to be careful that they did not deviate, they did not go astray from the path of righteousness. Fighting is a dangerous thing and it may become evil violence. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala directs his servants to be righteous and ethical in times of peace and war. They should be mindful that Allah is watching over them. Rushing to judgment. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the Almighty said concerning Prophet Dawud alayhi salam, we strengthened his kingdom and gave him wisdom and sound judgment in speech and decision. Allah granted Dawud alayhi salam the intelligence and the wisdom of a prophet, a leader, and a judge. Part of Dawud alayhi salam's training was to go through some tests. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him power, gave him knowledge, gave him wisdom and leadership, yet he wanted to test him on certain grounds. Prophet Dawud Alaihissalam used to retreat to his private chambers certain times for his worship. One day, suddenly, his privacy was invaded by two men who had obtained access by climbing over a wall. One day, suddenly, Dawood alayhi experienced the arrival of two men in his private room. Dawood alayhi was frightened. In Surah Sad, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells this interesting story and has the story of the two disputants reached you? When they climbed over the wall of the private room of Dawud alayhi salam, where he prayed. When they entered his when they entered in the presence of David, and he was frightened of them, they said, "Fear not, we are two disputing individuals. One of us has wronged the other. Therefore, judge between us now with truth and do not treat us with injustice and guide us to the right way. Verily, the man is my brother in faith. He has 99 Eve's female sheep, and I have only one. Yet he says, leave her, the one sheep, to me, and is rude to me when he talks." Two individuals came to Dawood alayhi salam. One of them said that the other one has done wrong to me. He has 99. One of them had 99 sheep, while the other had only one. And the one who had 99 sheep was asking the person who had one sheep to give that one also. And he said that he's rude when he's talking to me. So, justify our case. Dawud alayhi salam said, without a doubt, he has done wrong to you by asking you for the single sheep to add to his herd of sheep. And truly, there are many partners in business who wrong to each other, except those who believe and do good deeds. Do not act like that. And how few are they? For Dawood alayhi salam, said to the man who had one sheep that the other man with more sheep had done wrong to you. And then Dawud Alaihissalam realized that we had tested him, and he repented to his Lord, prostrating and turned to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in repentance. So we forgave him for this. And he really enjoyed an extreme closeness to us and a beautiful place of final return. Now, why Prophet Dawud alayhi salam repented and asked for Allah's forgiveness? Let's understand this. The accusation of the man against his brother was as novel, not a real one. The case was not a real case, but it was a test from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to Dawood alayhi salam. But Prophet Dawood alayhi salam didn't realize that in the beginning. He only figured it figured that out. He could understand it when the two men vanished mysteriously as they had come. At that time, he discovered that the case was just a test for him and that he made a basic mistake. He rushed to judgment. He judged against the second person even before listening to his side of story. So while passing any judgment, it's very important to listen to both the parties, to listen to the stories of both the sides. Prophet Dawud alayhi salam thought that the case was as easy and clear one, and he was overconfident of himself as a knowledgeable prophet and king. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to test him the highest standards of justice. A great judge or leader is one who reserves his or her judgment to until after listening to the other side. Even when the case appears to be very clear, like in the story. Prophet Dawud alayhi salam realized that his kingly power, wisdom, and apostleship were bestowed on him as a trust. These great things are to be used wisely. It was God's grace that gave him wisdom and power, and he should follow Allah's rules of justice carefully, not hastily. When he realized his lapse, he fell down to his knees in repentance. Faith in action. Always try to be fair. Avoid rushing to judgment in favor of people or against them. Always listen to both sides of an argument or a conflict to reach at fair judgment. Children, for homework, I want you all to read the Israelite story and write its summary and post it to me. Dawud passes away. Ibn Abbas narrated, when Adam Alaihissalam saw his offsprings and the prophets among them, he noticed a man with a shining face. Adam Alaihissalam asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Almighty, O Allah, who is he? Allah the Almighty said, this is your son Dawood. Prophet Adam said, O Lord, how many years will his age be? Allah Almighty said, 60 years. Adam alayhi salam implored, O Lord, increase his age. Allah said, I will increase, but from yours. Adam's age was 1,000 years, but 40 years from his age were given to Dawud alayhi salam. When the angel of death came to Adam alayhi salam, he said to him, there are 40 years more, and he forgot the 40 years which were given to his son Dawud alayhi salam. Hence Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala left Adam alayhi salam to live for 1,000 years, and Dawud alayhi salam lived for 100 years. Prophet Dawud alayhi salam died in Al-Quds or Jerusalem. He was survived by his great son Suleiman or Solomon. Children, we have completed this lesson over here. I'll be posting its notes to you all. I want everyone to read the lesson nicely and complete the notes. I'll conclude this class over here. See you all in the next session.